And I didn't mention, but Steve is also, he walked into our helicopter. And finally, we do have one of our docents now has made the President's Circle. Fred Shatsky, you want to come up and join me? So Fred's got to go get a drink of water before he speaks. I'm sure he'll have something entertaining to tell us. But he gave me a bio, and I'm going to read it to you. It's kind of long, but it's worthwhile. So Fred was commissioned as an ensign at the Naval Officer Candidate School in Newport, Rhode Island. He was then assigned duty aboard the USS Saratoga, which immediately deployed for a summer cruise to the Mediterranean and shortly afterwards a Caribbean cruise. Doesn't that sound great? After a year spent aboard the Saratoga, he was transferred to Naval Radio Station Fort Allen in sunny Puerto Rico, and then discharged 2 years later as a Lieutenant JG. He now holds the rank of Lieutenant, U.S. Naval Reserve, and guiltily says his naval career was so short and enjoyable, he feels the Navy served him more than he served the Navy. It sounds like it. As a Midway volunteer for more than 20 years now, he feels he is serving and learning more than he did his entire naval career aboard Midway. After his service in the Navy, he resumed his professional career as a registered pharmacist employed at UCSD Medical Center for 35 years. There he achieved the title Pharmacist Specialist, certified in nutrition and metabolic support. His collateral duty was Assistant Clinical Professor of Pharmacy, U.S. San Francisco School of Pharmacy. It says USSF is what he put. Is that USSD? Okay, so it is UCSF, San Francisco School of Pharmacy. As a teacher and trainer of pharmacy students enrolled in the elective he created. He served a 2-year term as president of the San Diego Society of Hospital Pharmacists. He authored several articles in professional journals as well as a chapter in a clinical reference book. He lectured in his specialty at local, state, and national venues and at the San Diego Zoo. He was also a guest lecturer for Norwegian Cruise Lines for a couple of cruises. It's kind of like your naval career.
Not as much fun.
Yeah, not as much fun, okay. After retirement from UC San Diego, he was employed for 10 years as a consultant pharmacist for Coram Infusion Services Company. Now, as a volunteer aboard Midway, he attended Docent Class 5 in July of 2004. He is a docent, a member of the NOT team, and a member of the Speakers Bureau. He was a member of the 2024 Midway Cruise Book Committee, a mentor of San Diego High School scholarship recipients, and a participant in Kearney High School's Project SAVE. In addition to Fred's notoriety as a world-famous Midway docent, he received some additional notoriety as a contestant on the TV show Wheel of Fortune. His good fortune, now this is the good part, his good fortune as a contestant ultimately enabled Fred and his wife Gail to become donors to the USS Midway Foundation, which we all appreciate. Thank you, Fred. Fred and Gail have been married for more than 57 years. They have 2 sons and 2 granddaughters. And now he's had a drink of water. I'm sure he's ready to entertain us some more.
Hey, thank you, Jack. You know, when I gave you the outline of my bio to edit, you were supposed to delete things, not add things. But I do appreciate what you made up for me because you made me sound important. Okay, so yes, 10,000 hours. I guess I have to make a little speech of some sort, and I brought some script here. And by the way, I thank the awardees who took minimal time in their comments because I'm going to use your time. All right, so thank you, Jack, Lori, Terry, and all of you, my shipmates. At each of my 9 previous 1,000-hour recognition milestones, I always felt proud at the all-hands meetings to express my gratitude and tell of my experiences on the Midway. Now that I've reached the ultimate level of recognition, 10,000 hours, the President's Circle, I of course feel very proud, but I also feel somewhat sad. Sad because I've reached the pinnacle, the final level of recognition, and this is the last all-hands meeting that I will be able to express my gratitude and tell of my Midway experiences. So before I become unrecognizable and expressionless, I intend to make my final all-hands presentation lengthier than usual. So please bear with me, or bore with me, whatever the case may be. There are so many individuals that I would like to thank for enabling me to be a Midway volunteer, but with consideration of time and your attention, I'd limit my personal thanks to 3 who I believe enabled me the most. So first, thank you. Is Rudy Shappy here now? Welcome back, Rudy. I'm glad to see Rudy was on a long vacation, and I needed you, Rudy, and I'll soon tell you why. If not for you, Rudy, I might not have become a Midway docent, or even have known what a docent is. Rudy was the only Midway official I encountered when I first came aboard, along with many others, to be a volunteer. With minimal screening, he asked if I would like to be a docent. I asked him, "What's a docent?" He explained, and I said, "Yes, I'd like to be a docent," and like magic, I became a Midway docent. More than being the founder of the Midway docent program, Rudy has contributed so much to the Midway before and after it became a museum. Alphabetically on rosters, Shatsky always follows Shappy. But Rudy, regardless of rosters, I will follow you because you are an exceptional leader and an educator, a Midway visionary, and I am grateful that you are my colleague and friend. Now, there are many unique features about the Midway Museum and other museums as well, but I doubt there is any museum in the world that has such a unique feature as the charitable, profitable volunteer enterprise that Emory Bishop created and has managed so well for more than 17 years. Thank you, Emory. And now everyone must know all about the amazing Knot team, so I won't take up time with redundancy. All I will say now is thank you, Emory, for making the thousands of hours that I have spent with and for the Knot team so meaningful. I appreciate your leadership and friendship. You helped make me what I am today, an obsessive compulsive knothead. I dream bracelets and lanyards, and I dream in paracord colors. Lastly, I'd like to express my gratitude to someone I've neglected to thank enough for so many years. Someone who has enabled me more than anyone to be a volunteer for 20 years. Someone who I've loved for more than 58 years, my lovable wife, Gail. Sal, I hope you're recording this because I want Gail to hear this message. She don't believe me when I tell her in person, so perhaps with this message. Gail would have come aboard today for this occasion, but she is still recovering from the major spinal surgery she had over a month ago to relieve the severe pain in her back. The pain in her neck is relieved magically by Midway every time I am aboard. So thank you, my love, for allowing me to have a mistress, or shall I say, thank you for allowing us to have a mistress, because we both love our mistress, the Midway. Our marriage has been a menage for more than 20 years. And when I come aboard the Midway, I feel like I'm in another kind of a menagerie, a circus where I'm one happy clown. So thank you immensely, my love. By the way, Rudy, Gail also thanks you for your support. Your phone conversations with her describing your surgery, which was similar to hers, has helped Gail cope with her ordeal. Now, if you can stand me for another few minutes, I have a couple of stories of my experiences on the Midway that I would like to share with you. These are my favorite stories. I've told them before, several years ago at all hands meetings, and I think they're worth retelling for those who haven't heard them. For those who have heard them, you probably forgot them anyhow. Now the first one, the first one I want to talk about probably applies to everyone associated with the Midway because of one word, respect. And I'm so often asked, why do I volunteer on the Midway? And I have many reasons, but the one above all is respect. The respect I have for the Midway, and in turn, the respect I get from people who know that I volunteer on the Midway. I want to tell you the time that I felt more respect wearing my Midway docent uniform than I can recall feeling when I wore my naval officer uniform. And it came unintentionally from a little boy. This is by far my favorite story. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Of course you would. I was a fairly new docent at the time, and I was entertaining a class of first graders on a field trip with their teacher. And they were very unruly kids. The teacher couldn't control them, but I wanted their attention. So I offered prizes if they would raise their hand and answer my questions. And the first question I asked was the simplest question. What is the name of this aircraft carrier? And no one raised their hand, except one little boy. But he didn't know the answer, he just wanted the prize. So, as he stood there in awkward silence, his teacher gave him a hint. Because they were first learning to read, she said, look at his uniform, look at his shirt. You see where it says the USS? Read his shirt. It's the USS what? And I can see his little eyes scanning my shirt as he read, and he said, it's the USS Fred. And now, 20 years later, I still feel that respect every time I come aboard the USS Fred. Now, this next story, I think, is a good example of the President's Circle because it has something to do with the former president and CEO of the Midway, Terry's predecessor, Mac McLaughlin, said. And he confirmed he said this. But of course, I added to the story because I'm a docent. I embellish stories. And when Mac heard the story, he told me he thought it was hilarious. So would you like to hear the story? Of course you would. Okay, so let me see if I can remember the story. This was a long time ago. Okay, what did he say? All right, so it was on the last day, I was in one of the first docent training classes. And on the last day, graduation day, Mac presented us with our yellow hats and a precautionary warning. He said, be careful of these yellow hats. They are known to have aphrodisiac properties. Wear them only when you're on duty. And he was right, because at home on occasion, my wife will ask for me to wear my yellow hat. And when she did, I would never fail to say, sorry dear, I'm not on duty. And my commanding officer warned me. And she understood because she knows I'm a decent docent and I follow the rules. Now, there's another part to the story that I hadn't told before because it's a sentimental story and I thought it might embarrass Mac. And with Mac being a retired admiral and me merely a lieutenant from my brief naval experience, I thought it would be inappropriate for a lieutenant to embarrass an admiral. But then I later observed Mac could never get embarrassed. He even sang to us at an all-hands meeting, which was embarrassing for us to listen to, but it didn't embarrass him. So would you like to hear the story? Of course you would. Okay, many of you don't know that Mac's dad, may he rest in peace, was a docent for a short while. And he and I were in the same docent training class. We were classmates. And I wish I had gotten to know him better because I was so envious. I wished that I could have had such a relationship with my dad, to have such mutual respect and admiration. It was inspiring, especially when I heard what he said when he presented the hat to his dad. Would you like to hear what he said? Of course you would. Okay, so after announcing that the hat had aphrodisiac properties, he presented the hat to his dad, and very lovingly he said, Dad, when you get home wearing this hat, Okay, time out for a minute. I just want to savor this moment. I've never had such an attentive audience. Sal, can you please turn the camera on the audience? Okay, so, yes, thank you. And shipmates, now that you're on camera, I'd like to ask you a big favor. Could you all please wave to the camera and shout, "Get well, Gail"? All right, thank you. And that's another reason why my wife loves the Midway, especially when I'm on it and she's not. So, where was, you wanted me to finish the story, right? Okay. So as he presented the hat to his dad, and he said very lovingly, "Dad, when you get home wearing this hat, go easy on Mom tonight." That's all he said, and I thought that was so beautiful. I remember those words 20 years later. So of course I thanked Mac for the hat and for the memory. And as always, I thank everyone associated with this magnificent floating museum for enabling me to have achieved that level of recognition. And now that I've achieved this level of recognition, and it's the final story that I will tell at an all-hands meeting, that gives you good reason to applaud. Thank you all. And I applaud you in return with great respect. Thank you very much.
Amazing emotional roller coaster there, Fred. Woo! I was laughing, I was crying, and we have a couple more awardees today. I'd like to invite Len Santiago, our chief engineer, to make a presentation.
God bless Fred and your menage. Steve, come on up.